Hi there and welcome to our latest Cheshire property market update. This is January 2025.
It is.
Phil,
Happy New Year to everyone. Is it too late in the year to say Happy New Year yet, Ian?
I'm still saying it, Phil.
You can get away with it.
And I'm still saying hope you had a good Christmas.
Oh, no, I think that one's gone. That one's gone. Happy New Year's fine though.
And where are we today?
We're in the heart of Hertford. You might be able to see from the surroundings here. It's a fantastic cafe right in the heart of Hertford, but that would be too cliche. It's in the middle of Hertford, just off the triangle in the village around the church. Fantastic cafe here, and we're here to talk about how the year started in the property market here in Cheshire.
We are indeed, and we've got some interesting data from the latest Rightmove House Price Index report that we can give to you, and sort of anecdotally, Phil, how are we finding things in the first few weeks?
As a broad title, I would say it's been a positive start to the new year. It started well. We've been busy agreeing sales, properties coming onto the market. There's lots that goes with that, and we can talk about the stats with that. But just generally, I'm seeing it as a busy start to the year.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we've started the year with a very good pipeline. So that's agreed sales coming through from last year, and we've added quite a few to that in the last couple of weeks, haven't we?
We have indeed. There's been quite a few sales agreed. I know you agreed one at the end of yesterday as well, before we're recording this first thing in the morning the next day. So it is all happening, which is great to see. As well as that, there's lots of properties launching to the market. So just looking at some of the data around that, there's lots of properties coming to the market at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, yeah.
So in terms of the start of the new year, there's usually a lot of properties coming to the market, but actually we've just reached a decade high for the amount of properties that sellers listed since Boxing Day, so Boxing Day coming into the new year. There's usually a spike of properties coming to the market at the start of the new year, but this is the highest we've had in 10 years between Boxing Day and sort of the end of January in terms of the amount of properties coming to the market, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So that is an indication of, normally positivity. People want to move. It's normally a good sign, but of course it also means that you've got more competition if you're selling your house.
It does. So positive signs that there's lots coming to the market, and people see it as a safe time to start moving with everything that's been happening economically in the background and things like that. So that's good. But then we'll need to work out how you cut through that competition too.
Yeah.
As well as that, with the amount of properties coming to the market, we've actually, the asking prices of people has also increased too, which is interesting to see. So this is from Rightmove's data. The asking prices have risen by 1.7% in January, which is, interesting to see that the expectation on price is getting higher and higher, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It normally bodes well, and that 1.7% is the strongest price growth at the start of the year since 2020. And of course, 2020 was when COVID happened, but also when the market really kicked off in May of that year and went crazy.
It did. Market boomed that year, and so the fact that we've got the highest since then is a good indication. Now, I don't think we're trying to say that it's going to be quite as crazy the market as this year as it was in 2020, but it's positive signs that it is increasing to a level more so than it has been the last couple of years. So we've been talking about the amount of properties and the prices rising. These are all great indications of the market moving forward. But again, we're not trying to make predictions that it's going to be an absolutely incredible year, but more it's just very positive signs that we're going in the right direction with the market, isn't it?
Yeah. I was speaking to another local agent yesterday because we've got a linked chain, and he was saying that they've been absolutely stacked out with inquiries. Now they're more sort of mid-range, but still, £400,000-500,000 kind of range, and he said they're absolutely stacked out with inquiries and valuations. So it's across the board by the look of it. Yeah,
it's interesting to see just a couple of other stats for the start of the new year here then, Ian. So increased buyer activity. So you talked about lots of inquiries coming in. Buyer inquiries are 9% higher than this time last year. The sales agreed are up 11%, which reflects a growing confidence among movers, and also mortgage in principal applications have hit high levels too. So that's really indicative of sort of excitement going into the new year in terms of people wanting to move house. Now, as we say, it's usually busy in January, but these are numbers year on year from last year. So even though it's January numbers, it's higher January numbers than previous Januaries, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, all that is positive news. If you are looking to sell, you need to have one eye on the fact that there's a lot more on the market. So we would always advise clients to make sure that they're pricing their home based on market data rather than a personal opinion.
That's it. Yeah.
And where possible, try and set a slightly competitive price to ensure that you get more inquiries, more viewings, and then a higher final selling selling price.
Indeed. Regular viewers of our market updates will probably heard us talking about this before, but when there's this increased competition on the market, you need to make sure you can cut through that. Make sure your price isn't bloated because it sounds good. It needs to make sure it's backed up by the right data. The marketing needs to be high quality so that you can make sure you stand out amongst those competitors again. When people are scrolling through Rightmove with all these extra listings that we're talking about, you need to make sure that if you are selling, that yours is marketed in the best possible way to make sure you're going to get that result.
Yeah, always, every single time. One other thing that I think is important to note is interest rates and mortgage rates.
Yes.
Which haven't fallen like they were predicted to because of economic concerns.
No.
So they're still at 4.75, which historically for a lot of older clients will seem like a very low number. But for a lot of younger people who are moving, they're high now, aren't they? So it's relative.
Indeed, since I've been in the home buying market personally, it's a high level, but it is obviously decreased than what it was at certain points earlier in the year last year. So again, trending in the right direction, pretty stable at the moment. We're not here to predict what's going to happen for the rest of the year, but generally we're expecting that not to get higher across the year.
That's right, yeah. All the talk that you hear is that there'll be one or maybe two reductions in rates, which will be good. But even with 4.75 as the base rate, the market is still performing really, really well. So if that did happen, we could only see it getting stronger.
Indeed. And thinking about sort of predictions for this year, other things that are coming up, then we've got obviously we've got the change in the stamp duty threshold that's coming in at the end of March. Now, we're talking about this now, but realistically, if you're listening to this and trying to decide what that's going to mean for you thinking about a move, we're probably too late to be thinking about that now.
Yeah, we are, yeah. I mean, we agreed a sale yesterday on a house, a lovely house, sort of 800,000-ish. And the buyer said to me, I want to make sure that I'm in before the end of March for the stamp duty. And I said, that is highly unlikely. And there's also a chain of 3 below that buyer. So the chance of getting something through in 8 weeks is almost nil. We will always work as hard as possible to get it through. You know, we don't get paid until it completes. So we're always trying to push things through. But equally, you need to be realistic that average conveyancing time is 5 months currently in the country.
That's what I'm hearing too.
Yeah.
And so 8 weeks, whilst it's not unheard of to have as many moving parts as there is to try and get that all across the line, then it's unlikely. So whilst that's coming in this year, we expect it to take less effect on anything that's happening right now. It'll be more just interesting to see how it might affect sort of buyer numbers as the year goes on once that threshold's kicked in, really.
And I predict, Phil, that it'll make absolutely no difference whatsoever.
There we go. Make a note of that prediction, everybody. check back into the update in a couple of months' time, see how we're getting on.
We're talking about a couple of grand, and I think generally speaking, with the bulk of properties in the areas that we cover, certainly, I don't think it's a deciding factor for buyers. Maybe further down the market is different.
Indeed. So we've mentioned some of our predictions for what's going to happen this year. Then I've got Rightmove's prediction as to what's going to happen with prices. So Rightmove's forecasts for this year, that they're expecting by the end of the year the average asking price to have increased by 4%. So we've already talked about how in January they're up, was it 1.7%? I think it was. By the end of the year, expecting asking prices to increase by 4%. Mm-hmm. So that's a good indication that it's coming from someone like Rightmove, who has access to a lot of data about property selling on the market, that they're forecasting that things are heading in that direction too.
Yeah. Really good to read. I also think we don't want rocketing prices like we saw in 2020, 21, 22, because ultimately that creates a bubble and then the bubble bursts. So we want steady growth for everyone, not rapid growth.
That's it, and that's what the predictions are, isn't it, at the moment? It's all trending towards steady growth, heading in the right direction. Even if you're not thinking of selling right away, it's good to hear, I'm sure, that the trend is pointing in that direction for you, heading onwards and upwards.
And we always say to people, don't we, that if you're buying a family home, the majority of the homes that we sell are nice family homes, normally for the long term, 15, 20 years. It will always grow in price. History tells us, if you look back over the last 60, 70 years, house prices always grow. So if you're looking to buy a family home and it's a long term, then look at the long term growth rather than a short term gain.
That's it. Look about what's going to happen over the course of the year. And we've talked about what's happening at the start of 2025. We've talked about what's going to be happening over the rest of the year. And I hope that's given you some good information as to where we're at, what's going to be happening. Anything else to add, Ian?
Nothing else to add. I mean, other than, I suppose, going back to our earlier point, if you are looking to sell, make sure that you price realistically based on market data rather than personal opinions, and then you should get the result that you want.
Exactly that. And we're here to help if we can in any way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll see you for our next update in Feb.
Indeed. Thanks.
Bye.